Okay, so this is my Google Slides presentation called All About the Ear. I teach second grade, and we've been studying how sound reaches the ear and then is relayed as a message to the brain. So I had created this Google Slides presentation as a review for the students in my class to think about what we've learned so far with the different experiments that we've done and the different class activities. So what I decided to use with this was the add-on. I'll show it right here. It is called Pear Deck. So where I got this was I added it from Google as an add-on, and then I can go to my add-ons right here. And if I were to find it, I would actually start from here, get add-ons. I'll go back to that. And then I could search for Pear Deck here. Just type that in. And it says manage now, but it would ask me if I wanted to add it on, and I would go ahead and do that. But since I already have it, it says manage. But where I open it from is I go into my Google Slides and I find Pear Deck. It says open Pear Deck add-on, and I allow it to open that. And if you haven't used Pear Deck yet, then it would basically look like it does to the right. But I already have added in the different parts of Pear Deck. So it actually, when you create your Google Slides presentation and you haven't added in anything from Pear Deck, you can go through and add different parts to it. Like for the beginning of the lesson, it offers you some different things that you might want to add that will create a more interactive slide presentation. It has beginning of lesson, during lesson, has several things for that. And then it even has end of lesson. So there are lots of different things that you can add. Ask students a question that adds a question to your current slide. And what I really like about this is what it actually does once you've created your Google Slide presentation. So you press present, the green button at the top. So students would have their own device, like a Chromebook. We didn't try it with iPads in my classroom. We had some Chromebooks that my second graders were to use. So I was very curious as to what they would be able to do with it. So that's what made me interested in it, is to see how they would react to it and how well they would be able to use it being 7 and 8 years old. So you press present lesson, and it's going to come up to a new screen, and it probably wants you to sign in. So you sign in with the account. I'm going to do my school account there. And it's going to give the students a code that they actually type in. So I had this on my active board, and they were able to see it. And the kids did really well with it. They were very excited about being able to do it. It was something new that they haven't really used anything like this before. And so once they see the code, they type that in. I don't know if it's case sensitive, but I made them aware to do all lowercase. So it tells you how many students are logging on, and I don't have anyone right now doing it, so obviously. But you can, I think it'll let me just close this out because I don't have any kids right now that will log in. So this is what the presentation actually looks like. What I really like about this is that there are two things. You can lock the screen, which is good for the little ones, and it moves their screens together. So when I advance the screen forward, so the little advance, it's hiding behind there, but there's a little arrow. Normally, let's see, there we go. You can move forward, and all of their screens will move forward as well. Theirs, from what I noticed, looked a little bit different from what I see, and there are spaces for them to type and to write, and it says draw. They can actually draw it on there. So I don't think it'll let me do it on here, but they'll hold the mouse down, and they would be able to create something about it. So I had kids drawing things. Here's the lock screens button. A new question, really like that, like an extension question. If the kids aren't understanding it, you can re-ask the same question or give them a new question. So if it's, you want to redo it, you explain something and you want to redo it again, then that's in there. But what I did was I inserted some of these things throughout here. All of these are mine, but then let's see, some of the Pear Deck. That one's a Pear Deck, so it tells them to summarize what they just learned. And so you would stop and let them do that. So I really like that it helps you as a teacher to think about different questions that you would like for them to answer. It was very simple. The kids reacted to it extremely well. I'll say a couple of things that I don't really like about it. It didn't show whose work was whose, but I figured out that if I had the kids to write on it, so going back to the first part where they had to write right here, if they wrote in their name or typed their name on it, then I could tell. So it would say show responses, and it will come to this. And what I noticed was I had 10 kids, and I didn't know whose work was whose. So I figured out just to tell them to write their name. But it also doesn't say when they're finished. Like, I can see the responses, and it'll say 10 responses, and it'll tell me that there are 10 kids working on it, but I can't tell if they're finished or not. So I would have to ask them. And then what happens is when I advance this, if they're not finished, it just keeps going. And so, they were a little frustrated about that, if they weren't clear with me if they were finished or not, or if I was just trying to push them ahead. And also I couldn't figure out a way that it would save the record for it. So I couldn't go back later and see their responses. So it does email things to you, but I could not find their responses anywhere. So I didn't like that. So it's like you have to get it then. So as far as using it as an assessment later and being able to make a grade out of it, if you don't do it right then, I couldn't figure out a way that you could save it for assessment evidence for later. So those are the things about Pear Deck. It went really well, and I will definitely use it again. The kids were very excited about it and have asked me actually if they could use it again. So again, that is Pear Deck that I use. It's an add-on with Google Slides.